Well, my name is Rihanna Curlett. I'm from Dayton, Ohio, and I am 23 years old. Charlie was due on October 11th, 2016, and on July 4th, and I started experiencing some contractions, which of course all new moms just think it's probably Braxton Hicks. Don't let me freak out. And that's what I was doing, just taking the right steps and precautions. And then I finally went into the hospital to get checked out, and no one found anything wrong. So I went back home and I just didn't feel good at all. So it was just like, in my mind, I knew I was having a baby that day, even though it was only July 5th. So by the time I get into the bath, I just couldn't even get out anymore. So I tried to get myself out. I ended up on the toilet, and like 20 seconds later, she just flew out. So then we rushed to the hospital, and that's where she began her new life in the NICU, and she was in the NICU for a total of 10 months. So it was kind of difficult because, of course, I'm a first mom, and you going into a NICU and all you hear is beep, 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 and babies and people screaming, so it's kind of nerve-wracking. And, you know, the first question you ask yourself, like, why me? Like, why am I the person who has this baby so young? I'm so sorry, because it is so emotional. And I was really scared at first to hold her, to do anything with her. In my mind, I really didn't believe I was going to see my baby past 6 months. So, you know, I just was cherishing every moment I could get with her. So it was just a big thing and a blessing to see how a baby could be 1 pound, 12 ounces. And then 3 months later, they're telling me like, oh, at least she's breathing on her own. You know, every little ounce of hope they gave me just gave me that drive to, okay, well, let me look into things on my own to see what I could do to help out our process. So we eventually switched hospitals, and that's when she came into her getting a trach, an event, and that was just because of her premature lungs. So then after we scheduled her for her surgery, she's now had her trach for a full year, and she got off her vent 6 months after that, which is a journey because we have physical therapy, you have things you have to watch out. This you just don't have to do with a normal kid. Like, I'm not able to take my child swimming, like, just because all the water is, you got to worry about other kids splashing. So it's just a long process. So once we finally got to the day of figuring out that she was just okay to breathe on her own, I think the trach didn't scare us so much. So we're like, was rounding out our end time. That was about the 10-month mark. And she finally decided that she wanted to take it upon herself to start just, I don't want to be on my vent. I want to talk. I want to walk. I want to do normal kid things is kind of what people refer to it as. So I never pushed her to be, you know, just normal, as in people always refer to me. I just wanted her to kind of grow on her own, because it's kind of discouraging, because for the first 6 to 10 months, my baby's not even crawling or sitting her head up or making just random baby noise. So it was a very hard experience the first 10 months. And then bringing her home was an even bigger learning experience, because now you have to do it by yourself. There's no doctors. There's nobody coming to check on you in the middle of the night. It's scary things as far as her pulling her trach out. She could do that 5 times a day. So it was just a very learning experience, a humbling experience, I would say, because you see things like this every day, and it's just kind of like, oh, like, I feel for that baby. But once it's you in the position and you're going through all of it, the financial struggles, just really worrying if your baby is going to be there the next day that you walk into the hospital. So I'm blessed to actually be able to partake in a journey like this, because I've always wanted to be into like special education anyway. So it's an eye-opener to actually be a parent of someone with special needs.
Hi, my name is Teresa Abrams, and I'm sharing my story with my child I lost last year. His name was Life. King Abrams. I found out I was pregnant in September after I lost my mom in August. I was excited about it, and I thought it was going to be stress, like a relief of stress. But it got worse. As me being a strong parent, I have to realize what I went through with him, because this is a sad moment. And I had to go to the doctor's appointment. My water broke when I was 18 weeks. They told me it was a 50-50 chance of keeping him and losing him. And I ended up losing him after I had him. But I do thank God, because if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have the strength to even announce my story. So I went to the hospital, and they gave me some care to help me through it with, since I was bed rest for about the whole time I was pregnant. So as me being on bed rest, I had to figure out, well, how am I going to come up with this money? What am I going to do? What am I going to do this? And the state is not going to help you out at all. So I had a bigger step to where I worked enough to put up some money just in case if something happened bad. C-section, never thought about that, but I had to do a C-section because he was always sitting on my pelvis. So during the 18 weeks, I had to get admitted to the hospital when I was 22. They said that was the proper time. I wouldn't say that, but they knew at this point in time that he was probably had a chance of living. So I admitted myself to the hospital for about 7 weeks. As I was going into labor, I didn't know, because I ain't had a child in 10 years, and it felt like I was pooping. But that's how bad it felt. Well, no, honey. She said, well, what's going on? I said, well, there's some brown stuff coming out. And she's like, well, she said that you're going into labor. So I'm like, oh my God, this is what I've been finally waiting for. But they rushed me, gave me a C-section, woke up. He only made it for 20 minutes, and I couldn't even see him alive because I was still asleep. And I woke up, I seen him, they took pictures, they put him in an outfit. I ended up keeping him, got him cremated, and that was on my expense. Did no one help me with getting him cremated, in which I think there should be a program out there for that, for parents that want to take their child home. But if it wasn't for God, I wouldn't have made it through this struggle. And it's really not a struggle, because at this point in time, God always say that's a victory.